Okay, today we are going to create a title block for our train body. So I'm going to go up to New, or you can go to File, New here as well, and create a false title block. And then go ahead and fill in your information with all caps. And hit the down arrow. Project will be mini train, and today's date, and the drawing name will be train body, and the class period will be whatever period yours is. Hit OK. Okay, and so here's our title block, and I'm going to create a base view, and I'm going to create it based on my train body. So I'm going to select the train body. So here it is, and it's a little large at scaled 1 to 1, and I'm going to scale this down. So if you use anything a decimal below 1, it's going to be a smaller size. So I'm going to try 3/4 of a scale, and this looks pretty good, but I actually think that there might be a little bit too much length between our front and top views here. So maybe either 0.7 or 0.65. So I'll try 0.7, see how this looks. So I'll go ahead and place my front view, always front view first, and then my top isometric and side. But you know what? We're not going to place a side view. We are going to create a section view that's going to go where the side view usually goes. So I'm not going to select side view. Right click and go to create. So here are our 2 views so far, and we might have enough space here to do this. We'll see. And I'm going to go ahead and create my section view first. And so up here under place views, there's section view. We're going to do an offset sectional view. I'm going to click section, and it doesn't know which view I want to do a section to, so I'm going to select whichever view. Now the side view is going to be based off the front, but your section view doesn't always start with the front, but in our case the front is going to be the view we want to use. The reason for that, and I'm going to zoom in here really quick, is because I want to show the depth here without using hidden lines, and I want to show the depth of these holes as well without showing hidden lines. And that's going to be showing up on our side view, or our section view that's going to go where the side view usually goes. So I'm going to select my front view by clicking on it, and right after you click on it, you're going to notice that your mouse is now turned into a crosshair. And right now I can lock on to the middle here, but I can't lock on to much else. I can lock on to the middle of this hole, can't lock onto there, so I can only lock on in a few places. So you want to make sure that you hover over all the areas that you want to lock onto. We are going to go straight through the middle, so I'm just going to hover over this area. I'm going to go through these 2 holes here, and I'm going to go through this hole. So now that I've hovered over all those lines, you can see now that I can lock on to their positions. You can see the little dotted line. So we're going to start on the outside of our object, or the front view, but don't lock on red to any of the lines. Make sure you're outside. Start outside and make sure that you have a dotted line indicating that you're going right through the middle. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to bring my mouse down, and I'm actually going to zoom in here just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to go through both of these holes, both of these circles that we can see. But I don't want to go too far. I don't want to go any farther than the top of this circle. So if I were to imagine that there's a line going from the top of the circle all the way across to here, I don't want to go that far down. I want to go somewhere between going outside of this hole, but not going anywhere lower than the top of this circle. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to bring my mouse down and see how the circle here turns red when I reach the bottom. I'm just going to bring my mouse ever so slightly, as small of an amount as possible outside of the circle, and click again, and then bring my mouse straight over, horizontal line, not a diagonal line. Make sure you're not going diagonal. We're always doing vertical and horizontal here. I'm going to pull this line over until I've reached the center of the next circle, this one right here, and it will indicate it by locking onto a dotted line. Click, bring my mouse through the hole and all the way outside the train body. Don't lock on to any lines here. So come all the way outside the train body, click one more time, right click, go to continue. I'm going to zoom out move my page just ever so slightly, and I'm going to place this view where the side view normally goes. Click, and check it out. We've got our stack hole, we've got our front holes for the cow catcher, we've got our holes for the wheels, and we've got our back hole for the magnet that goes into the side. You're also going to notice that there is a section label that comes up, section AA, scale 0.7. This is telling me that my AA section is this view right here. And I'm going to put it on the front, so I'm going to move my side view over quite a bit, like about there. Then I'm going to move my section view right here. I'm going to go ahead and right click this label and go to Edit Text Style. And right now the character formatting, the text height is too large at 0.18. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to make it 0.08. 0.8 would make it much bigger than it already is. It started at 0.18. 0.08 is going to give us a smaller size. Go ahead and hit done. Hit yes for save edits. Now our text style is much smaller, and I'm going to put that right next to the front of the train right there. So now we have our train set up the way we want it. And there's one other tip that I'm going to show you. And I'm going to say use this very sparingly. A lot of students like to use this a lot because it does save you a lot of time. But I'm going to tell you a couple things about it as we go. Usually we go to annotate and we go to dimension and then we dimension all the lines and everything. But this button right here called baseline. Baseline dimension will allow you to select multiple lines like it shows you here, and it will actually do all the dimensions for you on the fly. So if you click baseline, and I'm going to draw a box just like they showed you around all of these lines right here. So now I've got all these lines covered. Right click and go to continue, and see now I've got all these dimensions here. Now the reason why I say that this should be used cautiously is because sometimes if you select too many lines, like this is almost too many lines, but it's not bad, and I'm actually going to shorten a lot of these. You can always edit them when you're done. But this does save you a lot of time with dimensioning, especially going in one direction. See, I can actually go out this way too. So think about it. Going in this direction would be bad, because if you look at this circle right here, this is not the way that we dimension circles. You do not dimension from this corner to this corner. That is not the way that we do it. We do the radius or the diameter, and we do the position of the middle of the circle. So going out in this direction would actually be an incorrect dimensioning style. So make sure that you're doing this to where you're not going outside of dimension. You can always do this and then delete dimensions later. That's fine too. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here, and then right click and go to create. Now all this is pretty good, that's fine, but this stuff is going too high, so I can go ahead and pull these individual dimensions down. And see this? See this arrow right here? I'm going to move this number so that the arrow is right on top of the other one right here. Yep, just like that. That's fine. Sharing the arrows is just fine. And stagger dimensions, if the numbers are right next to each other, you can stagger them so that you don't get confused. And there you go. For our hole here on the side, and for all holes that need a center point, go ahead and go up here to where the center point is. It will say center mark. Click that, and then make sure that you select the circle. I usually hit it on the rim because that ensures that I'm going to hit it in the right place. And now we have a center point. And so I can dimension the height of this as well. So now I have the distance from here to here established and the height established, and I can also dimension the size, and putting this in specific areas, and you hit OK. So now the circle part is done anyway. So let's say that I wanted to use baseline, and I click baseline, And these are hidden lines, so we wouldn't normally want to dimension them, but I just want to show you how to do this, demonstrating. If I just highlight these lines, whoops. If I highlight all these lines and go to continue, I can dimension just this area first and then decide what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of and then do the rest of it later. However, you don't want to dimension to hidden lines. I'm just doing this to demonstrate. So in other words, instead of baselining this entire thing all at once, we don't want to do that because that's just going to give us a huge amount. So if I right click and go to continue, this is just way too much information for us to minimize. So this is really what I want to get through to you, is that you don't want to do you don't want to just highlight your whole object and do a baseline dimension to it, because then you're going to have this insane amount of information here where you might not even need to dimension everything that you have here. And so doing it in small packets or just doing it selectively is better, because then you're not going to run into problems. This would be a big problem. Not only are we dimensioning hidden lines, but we have way too much information out here, and it would be practically impossible for us to organize this in a good way. One more thing, this scale does seem a little bit large because there's not very much room. First of all, I'm going to get out of this, right click and go to cancel. But there's not very much room around here, so I am actually going to scale this down a little bit further. And if I just go to my front view, and this is useful whenever you're doing anything, if you always put the front view down first, which is what you should do anyway, but if you always put the front view down, every other view is linked to that. And so if I just right click here and go to edit view, right now it's at 0.7. I'm just going to go ahead and make this 0.65. Hit OK. So now everything has shrunk down. And you could even make it 0.6. But I wouldn't go too much lower than that. But this way you do have more room around it. If you're finding that your dimensions are running into each other, you can always change them. The isometric view didn't change. You'll have to change that one individually. So 0.65, and I'm also going to turn shading on. And go ahead and dimension the rest of your train.